Before we get in the program, Holly, it's time for this week's Joke of the Week.
All right, what do you call a thieving garden gnome? I'm sorry, a thriving garden gnome.
Thriving garden gnome?
Yeah, a thriving garden gnome.
Is the gnomes the one that's under the bridge, or is that a troll?
That's a troll.
That's a troll.
The gnomes are the ones that live in the garden.
And aerate the forest floor.
Yeah.
With the leaves and plant trees.
Right.
I don't know.
A nomad.
Oh, a gnome. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, this week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family home and yard protected from pests such as wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
Fairy gardens are an activity or a creation which one can partake in, whether you have a garden or not.
Yeah, so fairy gardens, if you're not familiar, is a miniature enchanted landscape, and it can be in a corner of a garden. It can be its own little area of the garden. It can be
just in a giant, like, half whiskey barrel. You can create its own little thing.
So its own little landscape, and it features like tinier plants, little homes, whimsical accessories like, bridges, things like that, to attract fairies, gnomes, or simply spark imagination. They can be built in pots, baskets, designate outdoor spaces. You can use moss, twigs, stones.
Do you have to use live plants, or can they all be like artificial plants?
You could do artificial plants. And they're popular for fostering creativity, providing a fun, engaging, and often intergenerational activity. So like, say you and your children, or the grandparents, the adults and the children, whatever. Some people will kind of make them like, if they have, a popular sidewalk that people walk by, they'll put them near the sidewalk and kind of have
like a public little library box, kind of an accessory
like
to
a little fairy garden there.
Would you say a fairy garden is the adult equivalent to a dollhouse?
It could be.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you don't have to spend a lot of money on the fairy garden. I've seen fairy garden stuff at the dollar store. Mm-hmm. So it can be pretty cost effective.
Now, is there any wrong thing that you can put in a fairy garden? Like, could you have a military-based fairy garden with little army people?
No, it doesn't. There's nothing wrong. Most people lean towards like whimsical.
Right.
But as long as it's like miniature, that's the important part.
Like maybe if you had a boy who was like, I don't want to do a fairy, I want to do army. You could do army with little tanks and stuff.
You could do dinosaurs.
Yeah,
You could do whatever. So you want to choose a container or whatever it may be, like a shallow pot, old wooden box, wheelbarrow. You could even just do a corner of the garden. I made a fairy garden in a terrarium, so the possibilities of the space you use are endless, but you do want to, have it be kind of a distinct area.
But if you're going to do it in a container or a wheelbarrow or whatever, you want to have drainage holes, because otherwise your fairy garden will be underwater after the first good rain, and it'll be swimming.
Right. Yeah, you definitely want drainage holes.
They didn't fly away.
No. So yeah, you have lots of options. You can plan, when you plan the layout, as Joy had mentioned, you can have a theme. You could do like whimsical cottage, like the whole cottage core concept is very big and has been. Maybe like a rustic feeling, army men, dinosaurs,
like cartoon characters, like Sesame Street themed.
No, you don't have to.
Ninja
you don't
Turtle.
Include like the
figurines.
Yeah, you don't include the figurines. It's like a home for the fairies.
Okay, so you're creating an atmosphere to lure the fairies or.
Right.
But if you did like a military army thing, you could put little army people in it. Yeah, there's no rules against it.
There's no rules against it. No, yeah. But that's the thought. And so you can get creative. Mine is just the one I put in my terrarium. It's just kind of, whatever themed. I do have what's called a goth garden on our porch, which I grow darker plants, and I want to incorporate a fairy garden. But I'm just going to use like little not figurines, but a little house and stuff that I got at the dollar store. So it's not going to necessarily be goth. I guess I could spray paint those things, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to put a little corner and have a little fairy garden area in that. Well,
this would be like if you're going to create little fairy gardens or themes based on, like if you had like a vacation Bible school or a women's club based on your religious qualifications, this could be like a little competition, like who creates the coolest little fairy atmosphere. Yeah,
some people do that. They have competitions. So yeah, you could do that.
And there are no losers in this game.
It's almost like not even What did you compare it to? Adult what?
Adult doll houses. Yeah.
More like a diorama in a way. I don't know. So then you want to make sure you're adding soil, some sort of soil that will support the plants. Typically potting soil is what's used. And then you can add tiny plants. Like if you go to most garden centers, they'll have miniature versions of plants. So like tiny ferns. Some people use like thyme, small succulents. Whatever you're using, you want to make sure is appropriate for wherever the fairy garden is.
Right.
Whether it be outside or inside, you don't want to put it
child friendly in most instances,
right.
or adult friendly. I mean,
well, you don't want to put an inside plant outside.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to do well. You could use what's that dwarf vegetables like dwarf tomato,
tiny tom tomato, tiny tim peas. One of the vice versa. One of those. You can do those.
So you could incorporate some edibles, but maybe since even the tiny tim gets like 18 inches tall, you want to put that like towards the back and then put like the shorter plants by the fairy magical
centerpiece. Yeah.
You could do things like build little houses with like twigs, sticks, whatever, terracotta pots.
Native gingerbread houses.
Like natural. Yeah.
Little log cabins.
Like little log cabins. Yeah. And sometimes like a little bit off topic here, but sometimes if you go to certain botanical gardens, they'll have the one in Green Bay, Wisconsin here has a little fairy garden area. So maybe if you want to feel inspired, you could take a look at that and see what they have.
You can go online. You don't have to visit in person.
I mean, well, it's nice to visit.
Well, some people we've got people in Georgia and Portland.
I'm saying like your botanical garden near you.
Oh yeah. Look, and you can go to your favorite Google search engine, whatever, and just type in. There
fairy
you go.
Garden, botanical garden. Yeah. So anyway, back to the fairy gardens. So yeah, you want to give the fairies like some sort of house situation, and then you can get creative, make bridges. You can use like stones. Like
if you just search fairy garden ideals image, you'll there'll be things that you never even imagined.
Right.
Yeah.
You can get creative, like take like little rocks and make like a path, or just use twigs, make a bridge, whatever. Yeah, and then you can do like miniature furniture, mushrooms. You can add fairy figurines if you want, but the thought like that I have is that you're welcoming the magicalness of the fairies.
It's an Airbnb for the fairies.
Right. And you can even like people will leave like little trinkets like maybe like little friendship bracelets there, or even like little teeny tiny like miniature like figurines for the fairies. And then, so the fairies can play with them. Yeah.
Have activities outside.
Activities for the fairies. So then you want to also incorporate ground cover, if possible. Like moss is typically the most common one. If you want, you don't have to have ground cover.
You could take pine needles and cut them up with scissors to really make it fine, like little walk paths.
Right.
Because otherwise the pine needles are way too big.
And you can also do like whimsical plants like thyme, African violets, and miniature roses. I think. What are those miniature roses called? I think they're just called moss. Is it moss roses, I think? Anyway, there's no rules. So the most important thing is that you're having fun, using your imagination, creating a space that feels magical to you. And then you want to keep everything small. Like the whole concept is that fairies are small.
Right. And you can do this if you have an apartment you put on the balcony, or maybe a communal area. You can create this little atmosphere, little fun thing.
Right, exactly. So you want to, keep that in mind, that you want to keep it small, like you don't have to keep the fairy garden small, but you want to keep all the accessories, the plants, whatever, small, to help maintain that magical illusion. And you want to also, if you are doing this with children, you want to make sure that they understand that this is, just for fun.
But don't control them. Let them do their thing.
Right. And then, but this is a good way to get kids interested in the garden as well. So, people just think that it's, rooted in like some ancient folklore. They are meant to invite luck and whimsy into your home or garden, and they just give you a peaceful, meditative space to give you an escape to the outside world of wonder, and just provide a little corner of beauty, and just like, I don't know, whimsical is the word I use a lot because that's how it feels.